What is going on, baseball fans? Welcome back to WHADDYA SHEA, the exclusive channel for all things New York Mets. The gang is all here. We got delayed. We were going to go live on Friday. We wanted to go live before that. Last live stream, we said we wouldn't go 2 weeks again without a live stream. I lied. I'm sorry. And we're going to correct that moving forward. But the season's here, boys. 4 days away from opening day. I'm ecstatic about it. I can't wait. We just kind of went over the details. It's a night game on Thursday. We're going to work out the streaming details, and I'm sure you guys are going to have questions on that. But let's just start with opening day. Let's keep it that simple. 4 days away. We made it. How we feeling? We excited?
Listen, man, ever since it started to get warm a couple of days ago, I really started to get baseball fever. And I'm super excited for it to be here. We got a game coming up against the Nationals. It's a night game, which I'm not usually accustomed to. Normally on opening day, it's a day game. I didn't even realize it until we started talking before the stream. But under the lights, going up against the Nationals to start the season, Mets historically, they dominate on opening day. So I'm expecting them to go out there, get a win, the best opening day team in the history of baseball. The question then becomes, can we maintain it? Most years we don't. Of course, I think 2 years ago we started like 11-1. Like it was something ridiculous coming out of the gate, and then we just fell apart. But listen, man, there's been a lot of big changes to this team this offseason. We've added a lot of pieces, and we'll see how it all comes together. Like we've said numerous times, my biggest concern is the bullpen, but the lineup I'm super excited about, and I think our rotation will be good enough. So I'm looking forward to it, guys.
I can't wait to see us rake. I can't wait to see us hit. I can't wait to see DeGrom at the plate again, too, which we're going to get to see on Thursday. I mean, it kind of makes me scared to know our pitchers are going to hit again, but love to see him hit. Mage, let's go off kind of something Entertainah said. Do you want to see the Mets start off hot, or do you want to see us struggle a little bit? I mean, we got high expectations, so I don't want us to burn out. I don't need 11-1. Give me like 5 wins in the first like 8. It's not great. That's still pretty damn good. It's not 11-1, but do you want to see them struggle a little bit, or you want to see them start out hot?
Well, I never really want to see them struggle. I think the problem is that they always start off hot, and then they run out of gas, and then they end up falling apart around the All-Star break, and then they end up stringing together some wins at the end to make you think that we might have hope at the playoffs, and then, again, they just run out of gas. But I think this is a different team. This is a different year. I'm excited about it. As Giants fans, we're hyped with the Joe Judge era, bringing the Steve Cohen era. That's it, man. He is whining and dining people. So I'm excited about the future in the New York Mets right now.
So speaking of whining and dining, let's get into that right away. Lindor was out at dinner with him last night. The talks about $300 million is definitely on the table. From everything I'm hearing, it seems like they're going to treat this similar to the DeGrom situation, where it's going to get done right before opening day. I don't care as long as it gets done. But really what I'm getting out of this is we're obviously focused in on Lindor. Doesn't look like Michael Conforto is going to get done. And so, based on what Lindor's been doing, let's make sure we wrap him up. But, where does that leave us, fellas? I mean, let's throw the hypothetical out there. Would you be content with not getting a deal done with Conforto and leaving it to chance of free agency? Like, do you see him potentially coming back? Do you see something working out with Conforto and the Mets in the future?
I mean, as far as Lindor goes, Lindor is raking, and they have to do everything in their power to make sure this guy stays here. And you want to get that deal. The one thing I will say, they said it on WFN the other day. I found it to be an interesting point. If we aren't able to sign him before the start of the season, and this does carry over into next offseason, the one benefit that the Mets have, it is a flooded shortstop market next year. There's going to be a number of really good shortstops that will be available. They went down a laundry list. It's like 5 of the top 7 shortstops in baseball or something like that are going to be free agents next year. Obviously, I want to hold on to him, but if push comes to shove and we got to sign somebody else, we'll be able to get a suitable replacement. But in the end, I think we're going to get the Lindor deal done. And I think it will be upwards of $300 million, which is insane, but that's baseball. You get 10-year contracts in the sport. As far as Conforto goes, man, I hope we can get this guy. And there's really no reason not to. I mean, other than the luxury tax, but one thing I'll say is you worry a little bit about Conforto. We say it all the time. He's a streaky player. But last year in that 60-game sample size, he looked great. He was going the opposite field. He looked as good as he has his entire career. And I think Conforto is one of the top 2 or 3 players on this team in terms of excluding the pitchers. So I think they have to find a way to get a deal done with him as well, and I expect them to. I think both these guys will be here long term.
So I want to shout out some of the guys in the comments right now because they're lighting it up. I do want to shout out John, Of course, John's been here for hours. John, I love the dedication. We're here. I didn't want to let you down. I know
John's been here since Friday.
Yeah, he's been here. I feel like we gave him no heads up. He's been here. He's like, what the hell happened? These guys just switched the time on me. So my bad, John. I take account for that. But shout out to John. Shout out Big Play Slay. Polar Bear Pete's in the house. Josh is talking about Scott Boras. And really, though, to Josh's point, Scott Boras manages both Lindor and Conforto, which isn't an ideal situation when you're trying to work out two monster deals with two monster players on the same team. So Lindor had chicken parm. We could talk about dinners. We could talk about dinners in a little bit. But in terms of where this team's going to go in the direction, I do think it's more important we get Lindor done because Conforto has been a homegrown talent with the Mets. And I think at the end of the year, he might be more reluctant to stay with the Mets and just work it out because seems like he's happy here. If I were Conforto, I really wouldn't necessarily want to play somewhere else, but I guess the money is the money. Lindor signing. What's up, Lloyd? Nice to see you too. So we're looking at over $300 million. I mean, that's where it is. Right now, the loose number is $300 million, and then they're saying that's not it, so it's going to have to be more. I don't think it really matters all that much. Just get the deal done. Get the deal done. He's raking. He's batting like .425 over the last week and a half in spring, hitting bombs from both sides of the plate, double singles, swiping bags, playing defense. And guys, Lindor aside, this team has been hitting the shit out of the ball. I mean, Dom and P going back to back. Dom had 2 home runs in the same game with Jeff McNeil in the mix. Jeff McNeil slumping this spring. Out of all people who could be slumping on this team, I'll take Jeff McNeil. He's going to figure it out. How excited are we about this lineup? I really think we have probably a top 5 offense, top 3 offense in baseball, no question. No question.
Yeah. Mage, I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, we've gone over the lineup here. I mean, this lineup has the potential to be powerful from top to bottom. One thing that they've done well so far is runners in scoring position, which is something that, it has kind of been a thorn in our side over the last couple of years. We get people in scoring position and just not able to drive them home. We did get whooped by the Marlins today in spring training. Mike Montgomery pitch. But aside from that, though, I mean, Tino, I think you pretty much summed it all up with Lindor hitting, Alonso hitting, Dom Smith getting in there too. It's almost like you don't need Jeff McNeil to be perfect anymore with all the hitters in this lineup. So I'm excited about it. My main concern is the same as Entertainah here, is the bullpen. I think that the starting rotation will be okay. I think that the bats will be okay. Can we close out some of those close games?
Well, I don't want to get too into the bullpen yet because we're not even 10 minutes into the show. It'll just get so depressing if we just start talking about Betances and Familia too early on. I don't want to depress everyone out. There is some signs of optimism. We got some new guys that are getting into the mix in the bullpen that look like they have some glimmer of hope to potentially bail us out of some situations so we don't have to lean on Betances and Familia nonstop. But let's stay in the offense. Entertainah, who are you most excited to see hit? Because I do want to talk about here and pat myself on the back. Pete's on a freaking tear since he deleted social media. Our first live stream, I told you guys, I know everyone's worried about Pete. He's going to be fine. I cannot wait to see the regular season just start up. And I need the monkey to get off his back because I think until it really matters, no one's going to give him the credit. But Pete's lighting it up, man. He's batting over 300. He's going to strike out, but he's hitting the ball all over the field. So that's who I can't wait to see. I stay by that. And he's, proven me right. I think he's going to kill it. Who are you most looking forward to see?
I mean, yeah, of course I'm excited for Pete, and I have full confidence that Pete will bounce. I don't even want to say bounce back. It was a 60-game sample size. He finished the second half of the 60-game sample size relatively strong. Pete's going to be what Pete's going to be. Pete's going to hit you the 40 home runs plus if he plays a full season. I'm not worried about Pete. I'm not worried about Dom Smith. I think Dom Smith turned the corner last year. I think he's a real bat. In terms of who I'm most excited to see, I got to go with the new guy. I got to go with Lindor, man. I'm super excited to see Lindor in a Mets uniform. But the whole lineup in general, I mean, I think you hit it right on the head. And we may have the second best lineup in the National League. Like, our lineup is stacked. I said it last live stream. Going into a season, and we're just talking strictly about the lineup, I have never been more excited for a Mets lineup going into a season since I've been watching this baseball team. Because I look at the potential. Every one of these guys is an above-average hitter in the lineup. Like you said, even if Jeff McNeil, he's going to turn around. He might be our best pure hitter. I'm super excited about this lineup. And Conforto too, man. I love Conforto, and I want to see if he could duplicate what he did in that 60-game sample size last year. So I'd say Lindor and Conforto, but, I mean, the whole bunch, man. The lineup is stacked.
It's insane to me, too. I was watching, I want to say 2-3 spring games ago, that McCann came up clutch and had an RBI single. And it's like, if James McCann is giving us anything, knowing what he's going to provide to us defensively, to think that we have a catcher who last year had a career year, he batted like 280. If he gives us that, we no doubt have one of the best lineups in baseball. It's insane. Top to bottom, even our pitchers rake. Like, seriously, I don't see an easy out in this lineup at all right now. I mean, you could say Nimmo. We were making jokes about Nimmo at first. Nimmo's batting like 400 this spring. It's like really insane. We are seeing exactly what we've talked about, that what we would have hoped to see. Nimmo gets on base. Lindor brings him over. Whoever's in the 3-hole scores some runs. And it's happening. I mean, we're scoring runs at a clip. Obviously, we lost to the Marlins today, but we'll take that with a grain of salt. But I'm loving it. Mage, where are you at? Who's on your radar? Who we like in this offense? Who do you want to see?
I mean, it's so hard because, I mean, honestly, how can you not like Francisco Lindor right now? So Francisco Lindor leads the team in the spring training in batting average, 365, tied for first in home runs. For, as you alluded to, with Alonso and Dom Smith, I mean, it's hard to not really, I mean, to not want to see that guy. But on the other side of that, though, too, is Brendan Nimmo. Brendan Nimmo with 2 home runs, batting 292 this spring training. So I think he's a guy that's going to be integral to this team, not just because of what he's going to do offensively, but because I want to see how it plays out with him defensively. You kind of need to get that outfield set. Almora has played really well this spring training as well. Batting average not as high, but also 2 home runs. I think he's somewhere in around the 232 range. So Almora's played really well. So you have him that can come in. It's not going to necessarily be a liability at the plate, but at the same time, I'm really more excited for Nimmo. I like Nimmo. Nimmo's a fan favorite as well. I want to see him do really well and just provide some consistency to that outfield. Also, I just want to say what's up to MH because he is here. He is glad that I am fired up. I don't get fired up until MH shows up. It's not a party until MH arrives. And Asia is here as well. Asia missed the last stream, so
Asia's saying what's up to me. She's saying what's up to sexy Tana. She's throwing all the love out. Asia, we missed you last stream.
What's going on, Asia?
We were missing you.
Asia didn't give me any love, and I mentioned her nonstop on the last stream. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe Asia and I aren't friends anymore now.
Hey, so many great subscribers in the chat though. But we actually talked about this, Mage. I think like 2 streams ago, who the X factor was going to be for the Mets, and the guy that I said was Nimmo. And not to say that he's the best player, he's not, but how he plays defensively, I think, is going to go a long ways towards how good this Mets team is going to be. And I also think the fact with all the talent we have behind him in this order, if he's going to be leading off, him being able to get on and set the table, I think is huge for this Mets baseball team. So I think Nimmo is one of the most important pieces to this Mets team going into the year.
Yeah, I just want to say something else, too. I mean, I don't know if you guys see it or not, but Lindor looks excited to play here.
Oh, yeah.
He came out with the Coming to America jacket. I loved it.
He looked rejuvenated, man.
Yeah. He's excited. He's happy. All the players look happy to be here. Last stream, we talked about it, just that the camaraderie and the chemistry on this team of wanting to play for each other, knowing there's competition. There doesn't seem to be any ill tensions on this team. It looks like they're all there for the same goal, celebrating the World Series and all during practices. They want to get the job done. They know what they have in front of them. And let's be real, I think they disappointed themselves last year. They didn't even make the playoffs in an expanded field where they should have. It was meant for the Mets to make the postseason, and they didn't. And they didn't even really come close. So they have a lot to prove. And I think they know that, and that's why a lot of the guys, a lot of the leaders are really honing in and, dialing up. I can't wait to see Carrasco either. I want to get in here and talk about, here we go, Danny. Danny shouted out Entertainah, but he was saying he wants to platoon Nimmo, Smith in left field, Almora in center. Don't forget about Kevin Pillar, too. I think the Mets are in a very good spot with that. I actually think both those signings make a lot of sense for us now because expect Almora to be that late defensive addition, sub-wise during the game when we're really trying to close out a game. And I think Pilar is going to see time. I think if he turns that glove around, they love him at the plate, that whenever we give Nimmo some time off, he fits that spot just as well as Nimmo. He's scrappy. I think Nimmo is the younger, more fine-tuned version of Pilar. But, I mean, if Pilar gives us anything of what he had in Toronto, we really have depth in the outfield. We don't have the one guy that answers all our problems, which is what we were looking for. But I don't have a problem with Almora, Pilar, Nimmo all rotating time in the outfield.
That's a good point, because in the past, when people got hurt, it was like we were, piecing this team together. All right, so you're a catcher, go play outfield. Oh, you're left field, go play.
Dom and Jeff had to go to the outfield the last 2 years for that.
Well, he's going to the outfield again this year too.
Yeah. That was probably one of those situations where it actually worked out, and they were like, "Oh shit, we actually stumbled upon something."
Yeah.
But so the depth is a really good problem to have. I agree with you. The other thing too, Tino, just off at the top, something I want to bring up because I know that he's your favorite, but Galorme, 22 pitch at bat, right? Or was it? 20,
yes, we didn't talk about it. No, it was 22 pitches, and that at bat aside, dude, he on the field, his glove is outstanding. He's by far the best defenseman on this team. He's made insane plays at second, short, and third this spring alone. Hot shots, like laying out. And I'm telling you guys, we talked about it last stream. He will be on the field when Stroman's pitching every game, no matter who's in the lineup. It might be more than that. He is a reliable glove. They don't even need him at short, but he's getting reps there in spring just to fill out the roster and making plays.
Of the infield?
What's up?
Is he Juan Lagares of the infield?
You could say that. He wouldn't see enough time to actually get the golden glove that Lagares got. But, he's sound. He's sound. And for a team that has defensive concerns, having these guys on your bench like Guillorme and Almora is a nice thing to have because.
And how about another guy we didn't mention on the bench, Villar? Villar's a guy I'm excited about on the bench. I think the Mets bench is pretty sound. I like what they bring. They don't, like you said, we don't have a big thumper off the bench, but we've got guys who could step in, be good defensive replacements. They did a really good job constructing this baseball team. It's kind of like the Giants, where the Giants did a bunch of things, but they still have some holes. They still have holes to fill. But the Mets filled a lot of their holes. They improved their team, which I think you agree kind of underperformed last year, was already a good team. If things click this year and the bullpen doesn't implode, the Mets could be very good this year. And I think they're going to have to make some midseason acquisitions in the bullpen.
No, 100%. And I think, to that point, the bench fills out nicely, but they all have a purpose too. And that's something we talked about. They all really have a role. And you've seen it in spring. They've all done their job. VR has come off and shown the signs of the bat when we've needed him in spring, just to show us a little pop, to show that he wasn't a waste so far. And if he gives us those little appearances of big-time power, that's all you need him for. We're not looking for him to give us anything, he was doing in Baltimore years ago. We need him to do a service from both sides of the plate when we call on him to pinch it. And I think he's going to do it nicely. I want to shout out my boy, Alberto. Alberto, what's up, my man? Matt, JD's glove has gotten a lot better at third. We haven't talked about it. JD will be our third baseman. There were some questions about it, but, you also talked about it. Guillorme will need to be on the field when Stroman and maybe Lucchese's pitching. And I don't think that's a problem. I really don't think it's an issue. And I think JD knows it. Best case scenario is JD plays well enough that we don't need to put Guillorme on the field, but it's riches. We're playing with house money with Guillorme staying on the team and being the role player he is. And I don't think there's any reason, at least in baseball, with the amount of games we're going to get, that we should, pigeonhole him. We're playing 162 games, fellas. Let's talk about that for a second. We're going from, because it's March, and it's weird being in March Madness right now because we didn't have it last year. I feel like we missed out. It's going to be odd to me getting back to 162 games because the season didn't start until July last year. So I kind of got like butterflies. Like I don't remember what April baseball even feels like. It's been a while. It's been 2 years now, a year and a half.
Yeah, the best way to describe last year's baseball season was basically you just fast forwarded to the pennant race and everybody had an opportunity to make the playoffs. Now we're going to go through the grind, but listen, man, I love baseball. One, I just love the sport, but it's nice to know that you got something to watch every single day, April all the way up until October. And it really, And I'll tell you what, man, with my teams improving, it's nice because now I expect the Mets to be competitive this year. It's going to take us right into the Giants. But it's a grind. There's no doubt about it. As a fan, you traditionally, you usually get super amped up for baseball when it first starts. The first month of April, you're excited. Then you start to settle in a little bit. May, June, mid-July, you get to the All-Star break, and then if your team's still in the race, you make a couple of moves at the deadline, and then you're really in it for the home stretch. So, it's a grind, both as a fan and as a player, but I love the grind. And I love the sport of baseball. I wouldn't have it any other way. 162 games every year, baby.
Well, and we talked about it early on. I had asked Mage, would he rather them start hot or not? Like last year, there wasn't even an option. You had to start hot because you're already in August. That's our time to heat up, and we had no time. And that's why, a lot of these guys and the thing with baseball, too, more than anything, pitchers and hitters alike, it's a sport that does take time for these guys to actually level out and do what their, overall body of work is going to be. I mean, pitchers and hitters alike go through slumps. Shout out to Ray West. He's in the building. Love to see that. Darren, stand up, my man. Stand up. Yeah, listen, 10 years, 8 years, I don't care. Give him what he wants. Just give him what he wants. Who else we got in here? We got some other people. Yep. Ray shouting us out again.
We got new faces too, guys.
We do. Shout out to the New York Sports Hub. We do have some Knicks on here. I'm a Nets fan, but we don't have to talk about the Nets. Entertainah's been going through
the NBA.
By the way, guys, these streams will get a lot more popular come baseball season. So hopefully you guys come by after I do my live. We're gonna be live late opening day. Because what time does the game start? 8:00.
7:30. And but like baseball games now, they try to speed it up. That shit is still like 3 hours.
We're gonna start the live stream. We're gonna start the live stream probably at 11. Yeah. So I'm gonna be talking Mets for 5 hours, and I can't wait to do it. Opening day is gonna be a lot of fun. Mets are gonna get the W. Then we're gonna come on here and we're gonna party. So hopefully you guys come on over to this channel after the fact. But yeah, man, I know not everybody in here is a Mets fan, but I appreciate everybody that continues to support the streams. All my subscribers that have come over that are Met fans, really appreciate it, and it's gonna be a fun season, man. It really is. I can't wait.
So Asia had a good question, and I assume she's asking Super Bowl series as in Giants versus Jets, and then she said, or a Subway series. I'm a firm believer that New York just needs a championship. So if we get both New York teams in any sport into the championship game, we're good. We have a 100% chance of something coming home. And this ties into the Nets. Everyone's upset about the Nets. Just let New York get one, okay? I didn't want it to be this way, but you know what? We're here now. Just deal with it. It's been too long. What, 10 years plus? What, the giants or the Yanks were the last? No, Giants would be the last team that won a championship in New York.
Mets are the last team to go.
To go to a World Series.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think the Giants are the last team to win. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Too long, and we're all Giants fans, so we know how long ago that feels. So New York needs to taste something.
I'm out on the Nets ever since they moved to Brooklyn, so I'm not rooting for them. Sorry.
Well, here's the good news though, because Entertainah would like to hear this. The Knicks are back though. The Knicks are playing really freaking well, man. RJ looks really good. He's coming into his own. He's really coming into his own. We knew that you were talking me into this in the preseason, but he's really come around, man. He's taken off lately.
RJ Barrett, and we're going to get back to the Mets talk, but RJ Barrett, you want to talk about a guy that's grown. I saw a ridiculous stat today, 2 days ago. I think Pistol Pete, one of my Mets and Knicks subscribers, showed it to me. He is one of only 4 players in the history of basketball to have, I think it was 1,500 points, 500 rebounds, and 250 assists before the age of 21. And the other guys on that list were Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and I forget the other one. But 3 great players, and yeah, I mean, all his stats are up. He's definitely bringing hope to the New York Knicks fans, him along with Julius Randle and Thibodeau. So I love what all 3 of my teams, they're on the way up. Giants, Mets, and Knicks, they're all on the way up.
Yeah, actually. So, Asia, I didn't mean to not answer that question. I would take the Subway series mainly because it happened already, and I don't remember it. I was a little too young to actually fully remember the Subway series and appreciate it. I know the Mets got waxed, so I'm kind of glad I didn't remember it. But if I had to, I'd probably take a Subway series. So this way, I could see the Mets in the World Series again.
Listen, it might be the same for Yankees fans, but I wouldn't care about playing the Jets in a Super Bowl because the Jets I almost view as the little brother type of thing. But I can get up for a Mets-Yankees World Series, though. It's like, all right, now this is our turn, and especially if we finally beat them, it's like the tides are turning. Like, here comes the orange and blue tide, out with the pinstripes. So
it's not even close for me.
Yeah, I agree, man.
When and like you said, maybe it's because we're Met and Giant fans. We're not the little brother in football. But I honestly don't think there's a real rivalry between the Giants and the Jets. We play once every 4 years. There's not a real rivalry there. With the Mets and the Yankees, there's a true rivalry there. And I think and it goes all the way back to the 40s and the 50s when you had the Dodgers, when you had the New York Giants, the baseball team. It's always been a city divided by National League fans and American League fans. And some people may laugh at this, Yankee fans in the chat, and generally this does not happen. This is not the case because the Yankees usually are the dominant team. But unlike football and unlike basketball, in my opinion, in basketball, I think the Nets could win 5 championships. Knicks still own the city. In football, I think the Jets could win 3 Super Bowls. Giants still own the city. But because of the history in New York, and you have a lot of National League fans, and you have a lot of American League fans, and you have a lot of front-runner fans, and they'll go back and forth, the Mets could overtake the city. I honestly believe that. They did it in the 80s. There's a true rivalry there when the Mets are good. And I think a Subway Series, it's not even close between the 3 sports. And I'm not a hockey guy. I know the Islanders and the Rangers hate each other. But between those 3 sports, I mean, a Subway Series between the Mets and Yankees, that's dynamite. I want another crack at those guys. I say it to this day. If Timo Perez runs out that ball off the bat at Todd Zeal, the Mets are winning that World Series. I want another crack at the New York Yankees. Sign me up.
And when I think of rivalry, too, all I think of is Clemens throwing the bat at Piazza. I mean, just you didn't get anything like that with a Giants-Jets game. I mean, the best thing we got was Cruz going 90, and that's about it. Ray, I agree. I'd hit the self-destruct button if we lost to the Yankees, too. But I wouldn't be that upset about it because it's almost like to quo, but I need us to get over the hump. Also, Asia, I know that the Nets got LaMarcus Aldridge. We're not allowed to talk about it. The Lakers signed Andre Drummond today. No one bitched and complained about that because it's the Lakers, right? And it's LeBron, and LeBron could do whatever he wants. But when the Nets get more good players, it's a bad thing. So I know, let's not talk about LaMarcus Aldridge too much on here. This is a Mets show, but let's go Nets.
NBA is broke.
Yeah, the NBA is broke. Don't hate the players, hate the game. You know something? The Nets were thin, and now no, don't hate the players.
It's the players that are creating these stupid super teams where
everyone's why are people coming at Kevin Durant? It's not his fault. What, like, they got minds of their own. Blake was an all-star. LaMarcus were all-stars. They're their own players in their own right. So their own Hall of Famers or whatever you want to call them. They made those decisions. The same way you come at Kevin Durant, give the same energy to Aldridge and Griffin. That's all I'm saying. Everyone comes at Durant all the time.
You know what, man? I ain't gonna come at the Nets because I'm not gonna lie. If it was the Knicks, I wouldn't be upset. I do think the culture of the NBA is screwed up. I'll say that because all these players are looking for the easy way out. The buyout market's a freaking joke this year. It's ridiculous the amount of players that are out there already. Still, the JJ Redick's, the Marcus.
The biggest issue with is there's nothing the NBA can do to stop this. Nothing.
The players run the league because it's a sport where
you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, it's
the league, man.
It's a sport where an individual player means so much more than any other sport, and the players know that.
Yeah. Well, look, and Josh is saying how much help did Durant need? I don't think it's a question of how much help. I mean, that's a running joke at this point, but like, what other all-star player when you see that big 3 come together? Look, people balled out to join the Heat too. They just weren't these names. Like, the buyout existed in Miami when the big 3 was a thing. It just wasn't LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin.
And it happened before that. Yep. You know, you think back to the Celtics team with Pierce, Allen, and Rajon Rondo and Paul Pierce. And then before that, even, it didn't work with the Lakers, but remember they brought in Karl Malone and Gary Payton late in their careers with Kobe and Shaq.
100%. And so, it's funny, though, because everyone was ripping Blake because of his dunks, and everyone's calling James Harden fat. Everyone wants to poke fun and make fun of the players, and then you're like, oh, wait, there's still NBA talents. Now we can bitch and complain about it because he's actually showing his worth. Look, I do think it's a little Fugazi, that Blake Griffin and the Drummonds, and they all just are in depressed markets and they just, mope and play terrible just to get their asses shipped out. But you see that across tons of sports. It's just overwhelming in the NBA, in my opinion. It was ridiculous how many people were doing it this year, but whatever. The Nets benefited. Let's talk about the Mets, guys. We have DeGrom versus Scherzer on Thursday. I already told you guys I've seen this matchup a million times, and DeGrom wins just about all of them. I love it. I love it. It brings me back right away. So 2 years ago, I went to opening day. It was a 2-1 gem. They both had double-digit strikeouts. DeGrom got the win. Are you guys the kind of baseball fans that like a lot of strikeouts? Like, do you like a pitcher's duel, or do you want to see the home runs and the hitting?
First thing I want to say about Scherzer, every time I watch a Nationals game and he's pitching, he freaks me out. He's got 2 different color eyeballs. It scares the hell out of me. But all kidding aside, when it comes to baseball, I would much sooner prefer to watch a 2-1, 3-2, 1-0 baseball game than a 10-9 baseball game. I know not everybody agrees with that. I know probably the younger generation wants more home runs. They want more action. I think it is a much more intensified game. When you're sitting on the edge of your seat, it's a pitcher's duel. It's 1-0. Any little play could change the game. I much prefer pitchers. I love when 2 great pitchers are going at it.
Yeah, and it's funny. I went to a game and it was Mets Yankees. Seth Lugo pitched, and I think the Mets won 2-1. It's boring to be at the game and watching it, but in a high pressure, especially like opening day situation, you want to see every walk, every hit batter. You know, when a pitcher comes out of the bullpen, his leadoff walk, you want that to count. You want it to matter. Like the home runs are great, but yeah, it's whatever. It's not for me. And the Mets are going to hit a ton of home runs. So let's get some pitchers duels where we can. And looks like, Chris, a lot of people are agreeing with you. Yeah. Shout out to Lloyd. Shout out to John. Hold on. Asia says she hopes that Tino sees this. What do I got to see, Asia? You're going to have to pull it up again. I do see Piazza owned Clemens. That's true. Piazza did own Clemens. Ray said something. I don't know what he said. Well, you guys pull it up. And let me know.
Go ahead, Mace. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you too, Chris. I mean, in terms of the pitcher's duel, but the thing is that it has to be a good pitcher's duel.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't want guys out there, loading the bases and then suddenly getting 3 outs. Like, I want to see an exchange of heavyweight punches. And
crisp. You want a crisp game. Yeah.
With DeGrom and Scherzer. So I agree with you there. I love the home run too. But I love them in clutch situations, bottom of the ninth, down by 1, 1 man on base. So, but yeah, the pitcher's duel for me, absolutely.
So I have one great example of a pitcher's duel I was thinking about, and it resulted in a losing effort, but it was a phenomenal game. The wild card game back in 2016, Bumgarner versus Syndergaard. That you can't tell me it gets more intense than that. I mean, a win-in game, those guys were going back. It was 0-0 through 7 innings before we pulled out Syndergaard. I think that was the score. Those types of games in that type of even Harvey, when it resulted in the losing effort back in Game 5 of the World Series, I think it was, or Game 5 against the Royals. Games like that, that's the type of baseball that I love.
See, but then a bad example of it is I went to a DeGrom start, and of course, who doesn't want to see DeGrom pitch well? But it was a shutout on both ends. The Phillies were pitching some scrub. Like, he wasn't good. So it's like, as much as I was enjoying the pitcher's duel, quote unquote, I'm like, we're being shut out by a guy who can't even, tie his shoes. It's like, this isn't the pitcher's duel I wanted to see. I expected us to cover this, this 1.5 spread. I do want to talk about some cuts here, though. We had some things go down today. Most notably, we did lose Jerry Blevins. He got sent down to the AAA roster, fan favorite. I know we were expecting him to make an impact. It just didn't work out. I'm sure he's going to hang around. I'm surprised the Mets really gave him that flyer to begin with. And, they at least gave him the benefit of the doubt. He was a long shot to begin with. So I'm glad he pitched decently well, and they're going to keep him around at least for that. But I wanted to talk about the roster as a whole, and we can get into the bullpen because it has to do with Blevins. Gesellman was pitching yesterday. I saw someone talking about that. He might take that last spot in the bullpen. If that does, I wouldn't be surprised. But, guys, let's talk about the bad stuff first. Betances doesn't throw harder than 92 miles an hour. He can't locate a slider, and he can't locate most of his fastballs, and they have to keep him on. And I saw Rojas talking about it. They're open, I think, in the back of their minds of moving on from Betances, but they have to bring him out there and see him struggle through it before they do that. And it's honestly terrifying me because we have to see a guy we know that isn't going to succeed go out there and do it anyways before any decision's made on him because he's making so much money. Yeah. It's the same thing with Familia. And I feel like it's such a tough situation to be in, especially in a bullpen that, everything's just so high. It's not high maintenance. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it's very important, for him to close out games. It's high pressure situations. And, we're kind of sending him out there expecting him to fail. And that's like a terrible mindset to have. So where are you guys on Betances and Familia? We got to suffer through it. But do you have any glimmer of hope in these guys? I mean, Betances more in particular.
I don't want to set false expectations. I don't want to say it's impossible for them not, to be good. I'm not going to say they're going to be great. I'm not setting those hopes, but maybe, maybe they could bounce back. That's what we got to hope for as Mets fans, but I'm not giving them a long leash. You know what I'm saying? Like if they're bad in the month of April, I'm making some changes, man. I'm putting, different guys in the 7th and 8th inning roles because those guys cost us a ton of games last year, and games are won and lost in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. Baseball, the newer age of baseball, it probably is more important to have a stronger bullpen than a stronger starting rotation. You need those guys to be able to keep the lead. You need those guys to be able to keep you in the game to give you an opportunity to win. If Betances isn't getting the job done and Familia's not getting the job done, you can't let it go on forever. Yes, they've had success in the league before, but Familia hasn't been good for at least 3 years. Betances hasn't been good since he's gotten here. So I think you got to have a short leash, but I think you got to give him an opportunity in the first month or so.
Maze, you shook your head immediately, so I assume that was an overwhelming no.
You would assume correctly. I mean, I would have preferred to sign a guy like Justin Wilson or somebody like that and let these bums go. Familia was good at one point, but always scared the living daylights out of me. I mean, that sinker, it always hung, and it was just like, I don't know, man. It's amazing to think that he was actually our closer at one point. And Betances, I mean, I think you've highlighted, you've talked about it in a lot of our streams, Tino. I mean, he just doesn't have it anymore. These guys are going to get shellacked. I don't feel very good about any of them pitching in the 7th, 8th, or 9th innings. I just don't.
Well, Lloyd, we brought back Familia. Why did we bring back Familia is what he's asking. I don't have the answers to you, but Brody apparently
money.
Brody Van Wagenen is the overall reason. Josh, the Mets never hit for Jacob deGrom when he's pitching. You're 100% right, which means you take the under on Thursday night's opening day game of the Mets and Nationals. And I do have something funny here, just crossed my feed here on the Mets app. Apparently Lindor was asked about his meal with Steve Cohen yesterday and said that the ravioli wasn't very good, end quote. And then later told someone that he ordered chicken parm. So he's toying with the media a little bit, but I thought the quotes of the ravioli wasn't very good was interesting. I assume that means they didn't hit the $320 million threshold. It's probably still at 300 mil, but that's the other thing. Steve Cohen got back on Twitter pretty recently. Yesterday, he was like crowdsourcing for like the Lindor deal.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love Steve Cohen on Twitter. I'm still getting used to that too. Like, he's literally trolling us on a very important decision. Like, everyone's freaking out. We have 4 days. Like, imagine the Maras or like Dave Gettleman. Well, Dave Gettleman is on Twitter technically, but imagine they were on Twitter like, "Oh, we're getting this Kenny Golladay deal done." It's like you'd never see it. But I love it. I love what Steve Cohen does, and hopefully that's it's a sign that the deal is going to get done before the season starts.
I'm honestly not worried about it. I'm really not. Whether it gets done before the season or after, I would be shocked if he's not back with the New York Mets. I'd be shocked. I think they'll get a deal done. I think Cohen's got more money than God. They're going to put pen to paper. They'll get this done. I understand what Lindor's doing. He's playing hardball, as he should. It's kind of like Leonard Williams with the Giants. He knows he has leverage. He knows that the Mets traded to acquire him, and he does not want to settle for less than what he thinks he could potentially get if he were to hit free agency next year. He wants to get that opportunity to make as much as he possibly can. And you know what? It's a business. I can't blame him, but in the end, I think the Mets will get it done. I think they'll get this deal done.
He's a bona fide superstar too. I mean, He's proven that since the whole everyone losing their mind on the contract negotiations, he's gone out, played every day of spring, and has just played on an unreal level.
I'm going to provide the opposite, thought on that, because we missed out on quite a few free agents that we thought we were going to be in on, and ultimately it came down to money. So it scares me a little bit, because I think that if he has a price tag in mind and he's not willing to go above that, he may let him test free agency. So that's a little nerving for me. I think I'm with you, Chris. I think ultimately he wants to get the deal done.
Yeah,
you make a trade for a guy like that, and then just expect that they're going to walk. I mean, you trade for a guy like that and you sign him long term, but it's a little scary though. It's a little unnerving for me because, like I said, if he has a certain price in mind for Lindor and Lindor is just over that threshold, it's going to be scary to see who blinks first.
I think it'll get done. I'm optimistic that the money won't be too much of an issue, just mainly because, I mean, all that stuff aside, Springer and Bauer, I mean, they all had somewhat of a red flag to them, whether it was age, whether it was, the value with Springer's deal, the value at the age he was going to be. Like, it just didn't add up. Lindor's in the prime of his career. He's just, for me, he's putting it out there right now. You're seeing what he's worth in his play. And I think Steve Cohen sees it, and that's why he knows he has some room to troll a little bit. He already has him under control. I don't think they feel pressure, but I do think, to your point, Mage, I mean, if it doesn't get done in the regular season, they probably will let him test the market because, I think as much as Lindor is having fun, he's a man of his word too. I mean, and I wouldn't blame him for going out and trying to take care of his chicken either. So we do have this lighting up here. I'm just trying to see what the comments were. Justin Wilson got hurt, not on the Mets, but he's on the Yanks. Yeah, Justin Wilson, Luke Voigt. Asia, that's what you said. Okay, that you were a Yankees fan and you're rooting for us in 2015. Well, I appreciate that. Well, us Mets fans, we take anything we can get. Here's some underwhelming news, guys. I was supposed to go to the home opener, bought the tickets, and they canceled. They canceled my tickets because of COVID restrictions. How terrible is that?
Wait, so nobody could go, or it's a limited?
Yeah, limited. So it's limited. They had the capacity, but they were selling
Everyone
the
was
tickets.
allowed to go except Tino. They canceled just Tino's tickets.
Yeah, just my tickets, just my group's tickets. No, yeah, but they hit us up a week ago or last week at some point and just said, yeah, like they put the tickets back out. They're saying like, yeah, 20%. The city approved it. Go get your tickets. And I'm like, great, I already have my tickets. Went to go confirm and look at them again, and they just canceled it. They basically canceled whatever they had posted and then re-put tickets for sale. But like the nosebleeds are like $300. And I'm not getting those tickets. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm just gonna wait for a different game. But I was so pissed. I told you guys I was supposed to go to the home opener. Probably when I saw Asia. Now that's not happening. Maybe I'll just tailgate the parking lot.
That sucks, man. We'll go to the bar there. What's the name of McCann's, is it, or whatever it is?
Oh my God. Yeah. Now I'm blanking.
The bar inside the stadium. I don't remember the name of it, but they got the beer specials before the games.
Asia, I won't tell anyone, but you need to tell us what that bar is. Please help us out. But Lindor's a superstar. He's worth the money. Let's talk about some other superstars on this team. I want to just talk about Dom Smith and how good him and Pete are going to be next to each other in the lineup. We've talked about this forever, but I couldn't be happier that we have a player like Dom Smith that is the talent he is. He's so good at first base, and yet he's making this adjustment to left field. I'm not saying it's seamless, but he's just so good at baseball, dude. I had a fantasy draft today, and I took them both. Fantasy baseball, I took Dom and Pete. I had to. I reached on Dom. Dom's too low. I think Dom's hitting over 300 again this year without a question. Like I'm literally it's like Yankees fans with DJ LeMahieu. You just know he's going to contend every year. And I kind of feel this way about Jeff. Jeff's going to hit over 300. I see no way, shape, and form Dom Smith doesn't hit over 300 this year, and his power numbers are going to reciprocate. Like I really do think we have a diamond in the rough with Dom. Like an all-star caliber player that for some reason we're not really looking at him as that because we have so much other star power on this team right now.
Go ahead.
Meet the Met says it's McFadden's.
Yeah, McFadden's. That's
McFadden's.
They used to have one on Long Island, and they got rid of it. McFadden's. But
and Mr. Shark said that his dad is Steve Cohen.
Mr. Shark, yeah. Mr. Shark says that works for the Mets.
But as far as Dom Smith goes, you can make an argument that he's a better hitter than Alonso in terms of an all-around hitter. He was that good last year. He's a guy that a lot of people forget about, but he could easily be the best hitter on this team. I mean, guy's phenomenal. Mets lineup is stacked. I don't know what else to say, man. The lineup is so good that even if 2 or 3 players are slumping, I still think we're going to be able to put up runs.
It's insane. I mean, it's dumb. We led this, live stream off pretty much saying that you did that. You don't remember a lineup this stacked, in this long of a time. And it's uncanny to me that we got to watch the spring games and it's actually that true. Like last year, our offense was on fire. We just couldn't get anyone in. Adding Lindor, we just knew would bridge the gap. But we have contact for days and the nice blend of power in there. It's great. Shout out Nick the Wick. Nick is here now. I love that. He wants you to change your backdrop. They all want you to change the backdrop.
Oh, you want the sponsor? Okay, hold on one second. It's not gonna have a Mets logo though, Nick. But next
you gotta give the people what they want. You gotta give the people what they want.
There you go. Faruqi and Faruqi, Nick. There you go.
Personal injury lawyers. So did you have a slip and fall? You got to have some sort of read for it, right?
Yeah, well, no. Usually I tell people, we're all Mets fans. We're Knicks fans. A lot of times you'll hit yourself over the head with a frying pan or something watching the team play. So if you hurt yourself, you call Faruqi and Faruqi, the personal injury lawyers.
Well, perfect, too. This is a great segue because John said that the most important thing is we got to stay healthy. And that's the other thing with the Mets, too. And we don't got to put this juju out there. But the fact of the matter is the Mets do always get bit with the injury bug. I do want to say, though, we have been getting a lot already. So we're still holding up Lugo, obviously Carrasco, Noah. Another good news to talk about is that Noah was pitching, touching 97, 98 on the gun in his warm-up game in spring, which is very encouraging to hear. But we need to stay healthy. We're already getting bit by the injury bug. But honestly, outside of that, I guess that would probably be the main reason why this whole thing doesn't really come together if we just continue to suffer injuries.
We talked about earlier about having depth at all these positions, which is really helpful for us. So, I mean, yeah, we talk about maybe not having a starting center fielder or, the rotation with the outfield, but it's going to be a good thing when you have Almora and you have Pilar that can fill in there. So, and also, too, just to go back to Dom Smith for a second, too, the best thing he ever did was take that offseason seriously where he lost a ton of weight, really practiced or put a lot into his offseason regimen, his training. And, I mean, like Chris talked about, now could be our starting left fielder. So he's that good. So he did put a lot of work in. So you got to give Dom Smith credit there as well.
Yeah, but to what Lloyd just said, Noah hitting 97, 98, coming off that rehab already is insane. And it is. And I hope he doesn't overdo it. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. I hope he doesn't overdo it.
That was my first thought as well.
But that's great.
10 to 15 pounds of muscle, right?
That's the thing, man. That's what I worry about. That year, I think it was 2017. Yeah. He added all that muscle, and I said going into it, I'm like, this guy throws 102 miles an hour. Why the hell are you working out to add more muscle and putting more strain on that arm? And yeah, you worry about that. With
Randy Johnson was 97 pounds.
Yeah, pretty much.
He slimmed down though, so I don't know the weight total he's at right now compared to years past, but he was pitching with a shirt on. And he looked
disappointing for you, huh?
Yeah, very disappointing. I was expecting something else. But yeah, so he looked a lot slimmer than he has in years past. And I think that was part of the reason. Hopefully someone kind of wisened up and told him. Because you guys are right. When I heard he gained that muscle too, I'm like, why do you even need that? And it's like as if he was bulking up to hit more home runs. It's like, dude, you're a pitcher. That doesn't actually matter. Like we would have taken one a year. We don't need you to go out there and try to get double digits. And I think he honestly wanted to at one point in time. But yeah, still, either way, I hope he doesn't overdo it, but it's encouraging to see that. And really now, I'm kind of like clueless on Cookie. Like, I hope Carrasco ends up coming together because this could be one of those things, and this is a very Mets injury thing where it's like, oh, no, it's going to be 1 week. Oh, he'll still be ready opening day. Nah, we're going to lose him a month, 2 months, and we're going to be here like June, July. It's like, well, is Cookie ever going to friggin' pitch for us or what? Like, what's going on? And so they've been pretty quiet about this. I hope they don't rush that back either, but I hope he's out there sooner rather than later because right now the rotation's looking like, and this is something we could definitely touch on real quick, it's Lucchesi in that 5th spot. He earned it. Then we got Walker. We're going, back to front here. But Walker, Peterson, who looked well too, Stroman, and DeGrom. Mage, what was that face for? Because I said back to front. Is that not how you like it? Mage is a back to front.
No, absolutely not. No, I'm making a face because I'm actually looking at DeGrom spring training. I mean, the guy has 3 wins, 13.2 innings pitched with a .66 ERA. I mean, anybody that doesn't think this guy's the best pitcher in baseball it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, speaking of that, though, I actually didn't send this to the chat. Did you guys see Francisco Alvarez hit a opposite field home run off DeGrom in practice? That prize catching prospect that we have that we don't want to give up. That's more good news. Yeah, and he didn't it was practice, so he didn't run it out, but it was a pimp job. Like he went Oppo Taco with it and just stared at it and walked back to the dugout. So kid seems like a bona fide stud too. If you're going opposite field on DeGrom, obviously that doesn't happen.
Just a few more pitching stats too. Stroman's 2-0 with a 3.44 ERA, and like you said with Lucchesi, it's 1-1 with a 2.77 ERA. So I don't think that they're going to have to rush Cookie back if they don't need to. I think that there's people in this rotation that can fill in. And that was one of the reasons why they went out and got 6 or 7 starters.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. You want Cookie back as soon as possible because he really fills out the rotation. And then when you get Syndergaard back, you have a great potential rotation. But
it's a marathon, no, not a sprint.
Exactly. I think we could last 6 weeks, 2 months with him on the shelf, as long as the guys we have don't go down. But I still think there's a good rotation even without him.
Mr. Shark, I hope that Alvarez is somehow a prospect like Acuna just at the catcher position. Lloyd, I'm glad you brought this up. No one is even close to DeGrom. Well, don't tell ESPN that. ESPN ranked Garrett Cole over Jacob DeGrom. Continue to pour the hate. See, DeGrom's having it too easy. We need some people out there who don't think it. Just because they don't realize he's getting better. He's won 2 Cy Youngs. Should have won last year's, and he's still getting better. He's throwing harder. He's throwing faster.
Speaking of Cy Young winners,
scary.
Can I go on my rant? This seems like it's becoming a weekly or bi-weekly thing now. So Trevor Bauer got lit the fuck up. He came in. I mean, I don't know what happened. What was it against the Mariners? He gave up 3 home runs in a row. They told him to hit the showers. This guy would have been better off pitching with one eye fucking closed. What is he doing? What is it? I'm so glad. I am so glad that this guy did not end up a New York Met. I am going to troll the shit out of him for the rest of his career because of all this. I'm sorry. I mean, it's absolutely horrendous. I mean, last time we were talking about him pitching with one eye closed and pegging a batter. Guess what? That would have been better off than giving up 3 runs back to back to back. He would have been better off pitching with one eye closed. This guy, you know what? The hell with Bauer.
But we definitely dodged a bullet on him, but I think in more ways than one, I think the fact that he just wants to be attached to New York still is what ekes at me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going away. Whenever he pitches against the Mets this year, we're only going to hear that same storyline. I'm sure he's going to say something about how he wanted to play in New York. It's like, dude, just let it go. Just stop, you know? Just
Trevor Bauer is going to receive the John Rocker treatment.
Well,
I don't know about that far, though. John Rocker got it bad. They threw batteries at his head. But
he might be pretty close. I mean, now, granted, he's not shouting out any obscenities or anything else.
I was going to say, could you imagine John Rocker in today's society? And that was only 20 years ago.
Before spring training.
Yeah.
Hashtag cancel John Rocker. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm going to get that trending on Twitter. Because we're canceling Nike today. We canceled Mr. Potato Head. We canceled Pepe Le Pew. Why not cancel John Rocker?
Dr. Seuss is canceled. I thought there was going to be riots. I went to Target, and there was a whole display of Dr. Seuss books. I was like, dude.
Wait. They canceled Pepe Le Pew?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Well, because he was forcefully placing himself upon another cat that would be deemed sexual harassment. So Pepe Le Pew was canceled, and he was removed from the new Space Jam movie as well.
So just stop. Why don't they just stop doing that? You can still keep them.
Because skunks matter too, Chris.
Yeah, skunk lives matter. I do like what Ray just said, though. He said power outage, batteries, power outage. That would play. That would play time here.
That's really good. I like that, Ray.
Josh did bring up a good point, though, and this is factual. Did MLB ban pitching substances? Yes, Bauer and Garrett Cole are both infamously fucked. So no more spitballs, no more grabbing a little Vaseline behind the hat and add a little
Who was the pitcher on the Yankees? It was like was it Contreras? I can't remember. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. He got caught like 3 times going to his hat. It was like
yeah. Oh my gosh. I know what you're talking about.
It was the number 2 starter, I think that. Yeah,
but they were using pine tar though. Someone recently was using pine tar to help them.
Yeah, the guy I'm thinking about was like 4 years ago. I think it was the number 2 starter.
Pineda, Michael Pineda.
Yeah, Pineda. That was it. They caught him like 3 times going to his hat. And I think it was in the same game. And if it wasn't, it was like back-to-back games.
Yep.
Did you guys see the college pitcher who kind of trolled the team? He kept going to his glove, rubbing it, and then they came out and then they checked it. He was striking everybody out, and like they were like, "Oh, check his glove." Gave him the glove, gave him his hat. He was like, "Check it, go ahead." The ump say, no, you're all good. Came back out to the mound, started rubbing that glove again. Like, he just needed to get under the other team's skin so bad. That was great.
By the way, speaking of college baseball, I don't know if you've guys seen what Al Leiter's son, Jack Leiter's been doing. Holy
He's
shit.
phenomenal.
Dude, I think he's had like 16 innings, like 20 strikeouts, no runs, like 2 hits. Like, it's absolutely dumb. Him and Rocker, they're definitely going to be 2 of the top 3 prospects coming out this year, like 2 of the top 3 picks. But it's unreal. Vanderbilt's pitching staff is crazy. I'm glad our first stream, everyone's like, have you seen Leiter? Have you seen Leiter? I was like, no, I haven't really seen him. Holy shit. Duke can pitch. And I wanted to note, someone said they were talking about DeGrom being very skinny. You know, the craziest thing about DeGrom, still to this day, is that he went to college, he went to Stetson to be a shortstop. He's the best pitcher in baseball. He went to college to be a shortstop. Yeah, I mean, like, you don't even
I say it all the time. Like, DeGrom, it's such like a Mets thing. Like, nobody talked about DeGrom. All the talk was about Syndergaard. All the talk was about Harvey. All the talk was about Matz. All the talk was about Wheeler. And DeGrom kind of just snuck in there. And he was the one that was successful more so than all the others. But nobody expected DeGrom. I remember Mike Francesa used to I get on Mike Francesa for a lot of things. And I do not like a lot of his sports opinions. I remember when he was in love with DeGrom when he first saw him. He called that one, but DeGrom definitely exceeded expectations well above any of the other Mets starters.
What was there not to love? That flow of hair, that lettuce was so just, bring it back.
I was worried when he cut the hair, he was going to fall off. He got better.
He got better. With DeGrom at this point, anything he does, he just gets better. I don't understand it. Too tall for a shortstop, I guess. But, you know, they do say that shortstops are the best athletes in baseball. They can really do anything. I think that takes it to a new extreme. But, yeah, I also like what Ray said. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. My father, that's just absolutely hilarious. That's just great. It's just good stuff.
The other thing, too, which, some Mets fans remember and then others forget, but when we traded R.A. Dickey to the Blue Jays, it was all about Darno.
Yep.
Like, Noah Syndergaard was just added to that package. Darno was the main trade piece there also. So we've been waiting for, Darno to break out, and all of a sudden here comes Dor with the long flowing golden locks, and, he won over New York as well.
When the Mets are successful, it's by accident when they make trades. They did not want to trade for Cespedes. They wanted to trade for Gomez. And they end up whenever the Mets do something right, they didn't mean to do it. They luck into it.
Well, the thing with the Gomez deal, though, they almost gave away. That would have been a terrible.
They would have given away more for Gomez.
They were going to give away Wheeler and Flores for Gomez. Why was that ever an option? Where was that? I was like, why? Like, I looked back at it. I was watching it on SNY, and they're like, yeah, the deal was Zach Wheeler and Wilmer Flores. I was like, were you guys drunk? Like, how much whiskey was drank that night that we decided Zach Wheeler for Carlos Gomez was ever a relevant good idea? Shout out to Sox Arizona. You wanted to say what's up? Appreciate the love.
Sox, don't think I forgot. I know you're doing a fantasy baseball league. I just been busy the last couple of days, but I'm definitely. I call him Locks Arizona, by the way, because he's got great hair. He's got great hair.
Nice. Well, listen, we are a pro flow show here. Like, I mean, we love our lettuce. I just had my fantasy baseball draft, and all my pitchers requirement needed to have flow. My first 2 taken were I took Garrett Cole, and I took Tyler Glasnow. 2 of the best heads of hair in the game right now, I think. Tyler Glasnow, by the way, is very up and coming in this game. He reminds me a lot of a young Jake. Because he throws cheddar. He throws absolute cheddar. And the flow, of course.
My fantasy baseball draft was supposed to be today, and I was just strictly going to go off a fan vote. That's it. But it ended up getting moved to Wednesday. So
you said a fan vote?
That's it. Everybody in the chat, I was going to let them make my picks for me.
That's actually not a bad idea. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, I was going to. My keepers are really nice. It's actually a keeper league. So, but I have Tatis. I got Correa. I have Hader. That's all I can remember right now, but I got some more.
I had the chance to take Lindor, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to take Lindor and then take Pete. I knew the whole time I was taking Pete and Dom. I was like, I'm just – because people are low on Pete, and in fantasy baseball, strikeouts don't do wonders, but I was like, I'll get Pete and Dom.
Where's Pete going in fantasy baseball?
He's still in the top 50, but it's like he's in like the first 5 rounds, but he's not high enough. My infield's absolutely dumb, though. I have Jose Abreu, Pete, DJ LeMahieu, Oh, I gotta think. Oh, I have Bellinger, but I moved him to the outfield because he has that nice little utility. Who else am I thinking of? Oh my God, what's the name? Hayes. He's the Pirates prospect. I don't know. I think DeBrian Hayes is his name. He's an absolute stud. I saw his film. I didn't really know much about him before drafting him. He's going to be the new face of the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is a name for anyone out there for fantasy drafts. Super late steal and find. He's my third baseman. And I'm eyeing him for my keeper next year. He was batting like 400 in spring. He's all the Pirates have. So I was like, fuck it, take a shot. Yeah, best player on a terrible team. So I feel pretty good about it. I'm not coming to opening day, Asia, unfortunately, nor the home opener. The MLB canceled only my tickets and my tickets alone. So I will not be able to make it. They know how I get when I'm a few beers deep. You know, last Mets game I was at, actually, I lost my baseball glove. That's how drunk I got. I never even bring gloves to the game. I was just so drunk. I was like, you know what? Let me bring the glove in. You know, you never know. Completely lost it. I couldn't even have told you where it was. Asia, if you see any Wilson baseball gloves about 10.5 inches, you let me know. From the lost and found, just turn it to me. Yeah, Brian Hayes. Yep, Josh. Yeah, I saw he's supposed to be the NL Rookie of the Year. I heard he's the next big up-and-coming guy. So, Charlie Hayes? No, not Charlie Hayes.
Peterson, is Peterson still eligible for that or no? Rookie of the Year.
That's a good question. I think he would be. I don't know how they count last season because he wouldn't have. He doesn't meet the games. Yeah. But I don't know if they consider because they gave out Rookie of the Years last year, so they had to. I don't know. That's actually a really good question. I think he would be.
Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes.
What's going on, BX Universe, man? Thanks for popping in, man. Thank you guys for being here. Speaking of, I was just thinking of a funny drunk story. When I was younger, I used to go to Met games and I'd get obliterated. Even when I was underage, like 18, 19 years old. And I don't know if you remember, Tino. I'm sure Mage does. At the old Shea Stadium, they used to have the picnic area. And on Wednesdays, you'd get in for free. You'd have to get there like 4 hours before the game, wait online. And we were all getting hammered. And it was like 105 degrees out in July. And my friend, he was stupid. He was wearing a SpongeBob outfit. And he's getting hammered as we're ready to get into the stadium. And we were drinking like 4 hours before we get in there. And during the seventh inning, and I only knew this because we didn't have DVR. My family didn't have DVR at the time. My sister told me after the fact. And during the seventh inning, my friend Brian gets up with the SpongeBob outfit on. And he's hammered. He's like tripping all over himself. He's running all the way up and down all the stands, slapping everybody high fives. And the whole inning, Keith Hernandez went to him in the picnic area, and he goes, "Oh, there's SpongeBob again," saying hello to everybody. So that's my funny drunk moment. I was dying of laughter when I got home. My sister, when I got home, she's like, "Did Brian dress up as SpongeBob at the Met game today?" I said, "Yeah." Said they were filming the whole seventh inning.
That's amazing. I wouldn't do that. I'd probably go Green Man if I ever did it, the full cover suit. Highlight myself up and stand out. But I don't know about SpongeBob. Maybe yeah. I can consider it. I do want to shout out John that we will all meet up at Citi Field's parking lot, barbecue, get beers when everything is settled down. Whenever they allow me back in the stadium, I will be there. I have to figure out when that's going to be. Asia, you were right. That was Charlie Hayes' son. So I will give you the credit. I'm sorry I ever doubted you. You're smarter than me. That's just the way it is, okay? You're not the first, you're not the last person to be smarter than me. But it's okay. It's okay, because this is why the chat's important, guys, because you guys tell us things that maybe we slip up on and don't exactly know. And this way, that's what makes us a family. That's what brings us all together. We're here to help each other out. We're here to get drunk together and barbecue together. We're also here for all the good things, for all the facts and tidbits that we don't know. But we do have to get out of here, guys. Mage has a hot date tonight. Like I said, he likes going back to front, so he has to take care of that. So I will let that happen, and I just want to shout out everyone in the chat for being here. I apologize again for moving the live stream. It was supposed to be Friday, but here's the good news. There is no moving Thursday. Opening day is Thursday. Entertainah, we will definitely be doing a post-game. Me and you, I know for sure. I will drag Mage. We're going to do Clapback Sports that night. He has no way out. He thinks he might have one. He's coming on to the post.
Cancel your date. Cancel your date, Mish.
We're giving you tonight. You can't get Thursday too, but that will happen Thursday night. But big shout out to the chat. Be here again on Thursday night, guys. We will hopefully be celebrating a W with the best opening day baseball team in the game. And Mage is a ladies' man. Everyone remind Mage as much as possible that he is a bona fide stud and a ladies' man. Now Chris needs it.
MH has my back. I love that guy. Thank you, MH.
She better be a Mets fan, he said. All right. Well, any last words, guys? Anything else to say?
I mean, first off, I always love doing this. Looking forward to really starting to do this during the regular season, get this channel up and running, and start to get some people in here for the post games. And really looking forward to opening day. I think Mets are going to come out on top. We'll see, but I think we're going to get the job done. I can't wait to see how it all plays out. And yeah, hopefully we're talking here on when is it? Thursday? You said I don't even remember the day, but
they all blend together.
They all blend together. But hopefully we're here talking and we're celebrating a New York Mets win against the Washington Nationals. Can't wait.
Yeah, I absolutely can't wait. 162 post-game live streams. MH is demanding a live stream after every game. Listen, if we can do it, we're going to try to. I can't drag
listen,
every
MH,
time.
what I'll tell you right now, MH, if we get crowds in here, I'll go live as much as we possibly can for post-game. So get people in here.
we have nothing to do. All we do is watch sports all day anyway. So I'll be watching the games. So we will do this as much as you guys want. Anything, Maish? We hate the Nationals, Lloyd. We do hate the Nationals.
One of my buddies is watching. So story for next time. Went to a Mets game. Tried to pick up the Oakland Athletics wife. So that's going to be for another story.
Wait, a fan's wife or like
the Oakland Athletics manager.
You tried to pick up.
Yeah.
Wait.
Whoa, hold on. You don't know.
Wait. Which manager?
I'm gonna get details. I don't remember. It seems kind of blurry, but it is good though. So, in the words of MH, clap back or get smacked back.
Yeah, clap back or get smacked back. Thank you guys for coming out again. We will probably hear this story off stream, but I'll make sure Mage tells it the next time he's on too. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Love you all. Talk to you next time.